Hi Clint, how you doing this
Uh,
afternoon?
Good, Craig. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very good, thank you. This has been a long time coming. I've
Yep,
followed you for many years, but we haven't had a chance to get together. But I think that it's a very, very appropriate time to get together. Our favorite band is
absolutely.
coming. Our favorite band's coming to Australia
Yep.
after 13 years. Tell us a little bit about that 2019. Did you have something planned around that, like you have for this upcoming
Oh,
tour?
a little bit. Not so much. There was a night in between gig of the Melbourne um, gigs that we were doing, but that was basically it. Obviously, I had tickets to pretty much all of them, and I had a meet and
Right,
greet for Sydney,
right.
which obviously didn't happen. So
Yeah,
yeah, which was a bit devastating. But the reasons surrounding that are obviously clear to everyone now, and um, hopefully he's not going to experience that again leading up to this one, and we'll be in the clear and yeah, get to see him live once again, man. So
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. When was the last time that you saw Metallica?
yeah, 2013 sound stuff that they came here and did. I only saw him in Sydney that time, but yeah, that was a while ago. But yeah, it's gonna be so good to see him again, man. Obviously, you've seen him quite a few times since, so um, and a couple of the boys, Denny and Mitch in the band, they've seen him at the first show at Amsterdam of the M72 tour. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, but
Well,
yeah, I've
y-
been stuck in Sydney and haven't been able to see him. So
well,
yeah,
understandable. You have a young family, so I
yeah,
totally get it. And also, you have Damage Inc. that's playing
yeah.
everywhere. You play all these little small towns. I just absolutely love and respect that you don't just play in the major cities. You're going to these small towns in Australia. You're going to New Zealand. So
Yep.
you've just announced that you're going to do like an Australian tour following Metallica around. So tell us a little
Yep.
bit about that.
So that's yeah, the night before shows. Every Metallica are doing, we're playing the night before. So yeah, it's in Perth. We're playing the night before, and then so on. We just pretty much follow them around, but play the night before, and then get to experience the Metallica show the night after. But yeah, it's kind of like a pre-party. All the Metallica club chapters are on board. The New Zealand, the Tasmaniacs, the Melbourne Militia, Australia Anesthesia. So instead of us having a support band, it's going to be those guys sort of running like a chapter party. Um, and I'm not even sure what they've got planned at the moment. I know there's going to be giveaways and fun stuff that they're going to do,
Yeah.
and then we come on a little bit later after that and play play all the songs that Metallica aren't going to play on the well that we're hoping that they're not going to play on the tour.
Songs are you going to play on this tour? I mean, I've seen them on the last three tours previously, and they have maybe about 35 to 40 songs that they have just on rotation, unless they're going to play like a song from the new album. So
Yeah.
I mean, don't give too much away, but it says you're going to play some deep cuts. So,
Oh, there's a couple of Flowed that Metallica have never wholly played live as a band.
right,
There's that like we even like there's a few that we rehearsed and we're just like this doesn't work sort of live. Which, for
right,
example, a song like Ronnie, we
right.
played that and it was just like oh no, it's not. It
Very,
doesn't really fit. So we just picked another one from that album.
okay.
Yeah, we went deep, man. Like we've got some real like deep songs in there, and
Yeah,
each night that we play, it's going to be a different set list. So
yeah,
we've had about 50 songs that we've gone in and rehearsed up and tried to make work if it's a song that Metallica have never played live.
yeah.
And yeah, and sometimes it just doesn't make the cut, which it might come back around, like the song Ronnie. It might we might come visit it again soon, and but yeah, not for this run, but yeah, there's some deep songs in there. Shorter Straws on there.
Mm.
Oh man, I could just go on, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, this is crazy. So yeah,
Any Saint Anger songs?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. we've always been a supporter of that album. Some of
Hmm.
those songs are really cool to play live. Uh, I won't tell you which one we're doing
Okay,
this
okay,
time, but
yeah,
we've played Saint Anger, we've played Frantic, we've played My World live. Like I think that was
yeah.
back in 2006. We played My World, so
Nice.
yeah, we've got no qualms in playing those songs, and
Right.
the way what we're going to be doing is unexpected, and is going to be like, oh wow, oh, okay, they're doing that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's awesome. And who picks the
yeah.
set? Do you turn up to the show and go, okay, this is what we're going to play tonight, or how do you
To
do it?
as of late, that's the way it's been. We turn up to a show, and then we've got like a list of songs, and then we sort of scratch some out, and sometimes we have like a VIP ticket, and that's part of what they get to do. They get to choose what songs we play, and we say, okay, for
Right.
this slot, there's these songs, so you get to pick, and we just got to be ready to go at the
Yeah,
drop of a hat,
yeah, yeah,
So
like a jukebox, really, isn't it?
exactly, yeah. So yeah, we've got about 44 sort of ish songs on the set list that can be crossed out and added in at any time. So
That's a
yeah, we're hoping just to create a different experience every show. That if someone was to follow us from Perth to New Zealand,
yeah,
they'd get a different song every night. So
absolutely. And I
yeah.
also saw on this tour you've got is it a competition for a jam with Damage Inc?
Oh, that's a little bit different. So that's we've got a day with Unreal Studios coming up where we're going into it's like a studio sort of out near my way in Sydney, and they've been really big supporters of us, and they've got a great space out there, and we're going to go in and with Hot and Heavy, and going to play a couple of songs, and then after that we sort of like there's a bit of time. What else can we do to fill that fill that space? And we said, why don't we get people to come in and jam with us if they want to play Metallica song? Like a lot of people don't get that opportunity, or whether it's through an experience or not getting that opportunity, to
Yeah.
play a Metallica song with a bunch of other Metallica freaks. So yeah, so we've already had quite a few requests of people coming in and saying, "Hey, I want to play a Metallica song with you guys," and we're like, "Cool." So we book it in, and yeah, so that day is going to be quite huge actually. So we've actually one of the ideas for that day was also to have a damaging museum, like sort of based off what Metallica have been doing. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I
yeah,
don't know how that would work. So I sort of dug through my garage and some other files on computer and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe how much stuff we've got. We've got old banners, and like it's really going to be like what Metallica's museum looks like, that we
yeah,
can have. Some old set lists and old banners and old shirts, and like we're going to have all our guitars there that people can see and pick up and have a look at, and people might have seen some some of those guitars before, but in a
yeah.
space like that, never seen the 12 that I have together, and all the Hetfield models, and get to have a better look at them, and really let just create some when I was little, if someone did that, it would inspire me, And I'm not saying I'm anyone or anything big, but just to get that opportunity to do all that, yeah, it's going to be wicked. And we're also that day also too. We did a shot a little documentary last year for our
Yes.
20th year.
That's what I was
So
going to
we're
ask.
yeah, well there you go. We're premiering that at there's at Unreal Studios as well. They've got a space up the top,
Yeah.
um, and we can black it all out, make it look like a little bit of a theater, and yeah, we're going to premiere that. So it's just going to be a massive day. So it's going to be a promo for our tour coming up, but yeah, we're just it's free. Like no one's charged anything, and
Yeah.
there's a barbecue at the end of it. Get to eat, like it's just going to be a free, fun day. So yeah,
That's
it's
so
just something
good.
different, and yeah, it's something new that no one's really done before, and yeah, it's just going to be fun.
And tell us a little bit more about the documentary. I mean, do you have like this massive hard drive or?
It's based around our 20th anniversary show, which we did, which was in the round. So we had the stage in the middle, like
Yes.
Metallica did for Death Magnetic, and so on, and then we just got a guy to follow us around just for that couple of days, and see the challenges that we had, and how we felt leading up to it, and yeah, it only goes for about 20 minutes, but it's long enough that you get the gist of how we felt about it and how we feel about this band, and what it really means to us. Like it's been well, coming up next year will be 22 years, and
Wow.
to put something together like that isn't little,
Yeah.
and the logistics of it is pretty crazy. Like for a tribute band to be like, well, let's play in the middle, and there's been so many of those times where we've been like, let's do this, and we're like, okay, how can we make it work? And it's just like, for example, the orchestra thing, like, and it's just we've played with an orchestra, and I'm
It
like we
take
keep saying these things and then doing them, so it's just great that we can do that as a band. A lot of bands are like, oh, imagine if you could do that. Obviously, these things were pipe dreams, like years down the,
yeah.
imagine if we got to do that. But we're ticking them off the list, and now we're just proving to ourselves that, hey, we can do this stuff.
Yeah.
Like play with symphonies, play in the round, and just to do that show in the round, like it was just amazing. Like
Mm.
every microphone that I went to, there was just a different crowd, and just to experience what Metallica must,
Yes.
obviously on a smaller scale, but it was just amazing, man. Like it
Yeah.
was so cool. It was one of
Yeah.
the best. We put a lot of money and time and effort into it, and
Mm.
we got a lot of feedback that it was, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
effort, you know what I mean? And when you put that much time and effort into something and get that feedback, there's nothing more rewarding.
Absolutely. Yeah. It shows your
Yeah.
dedication and passion to something
Yeah.
that you really enjoy. Yeah. Getting
Yeah.
back to the in ring thing that you did.
In the round, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Was it difficult for you to play live? I mean, you're always playing on stage, but then all of a sudden you're in the middle. So I've
Yep.
heard feedback from some of my friends that saw Metallica do their first show with the in the round stage,
Yep.
and they said that they were a little bit awkward. They didn't know how to like now they
Yep.
go they play three songs in one point and then they go to the next one and then Kirk's just doing the
Yep.
rounds.
Yep.
How did it feel for you guys doing something like this, something totally different with having microphones everywhere?
Everywhere. Yeah, we had to plan it out a bit. Like if someone was, we didn't want to all be in one spot at one time. So if
Hmm.
someone was heading towards someone, you had to sort of just keep an eye on. It was just another thing that you had to look out for. Like
Yeah.
if someone's heading towards you, one of the other guys, Mitch was heading towards me. Don't spend too long just with him. Move around because you got to give everyone that full experience of the 360 experience. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of things where it was planned out. I'd think about the verses, and that's how I'd know to move. So I'd sing a first verse of a song, and then okay, well I need to go to another microphone. I've been here already. So yeah, a lot of that was sort of planned out individually. It wasn't sort of things that we spoke about. I just knew. I just said to the boys, um, every sort of verse I'm going to move, just so I'm not in one spot really. So, but I had probably the biggest challenge was changes in my sound for guitar,
Right.
because I was moving around these microphones. I was like, how am I going to change my, from distortion to clean or something.
Yeah.
So, and I was lucky enough that I've got a guy that helps me out on a fair bit of shows, Dominic, and he's just a weapon, and he was onto it. He learnt the songs, and he was doing my changes for me, like exactly
Right.
like Chad would do for James. Like
Yeah.
it, and it's almost like I pay tribute to Hetfield, and he was paying tribute to Chad, like being his
Yeah.
guitar tech. So, and he, like I said to him, you're performing this show with me, like,
Yes.
and he just nailed it. He just completely nailed it. Like, obviously, there was some things where he was like, oh, I'm nervous trying to do this, but he did fantastic. Like there wasn't an error, and it just was just the night was just magical. I can't, like, I needed to go sit, and when I got home, I needed to go sit in a corner, look into a wall for about 10 minutes, and just decompress because I was just like flying high. Like it was just
Yeah.
it just worked. Everything worked. Everything was perfect. Everything was just seamless on the night. It was just amazing. So
Wow.
yeah,
And then And then also you mentioned about the symphony. I don't want you to skip over the
yeah.
symphony part. I mean, what an experience being able to play in front of a was it a full orchestra or was it just the ensemble?
There was 2025, I think it was. So,
That's an orchestra, I think,
yeah,
is it?
2024. Yeah, well, it was called
Yeah.
Orchestra. They were called
Yeah.
the Orion Orchestra. So,
Right.
um,
Tell us
yeah,
about
that
it.
was, man, that was just, once again, this, you're like, sometimes you sort of go, what am I doing here? Why? How did I get here? You know. And then you get on stage, and then the sort of persona takes over of being a performer, um, and and then you just in it, and you sort of. I felt when our first show when that was happening, I felt like I was watching myself, like I had an
Mm.
out of body experience, like it was just that sort of big of a dream. I didn't feel like I was really there, um, and like you've listened to those S&M albums, like the
Yeah.
symphony lines, you can hear them in your head, and when they're playing, like it felt like I was listening to the CD while we were playing. You
Right.
know, it was just like they're playing the exact same lines that they were playing, that the symphony was playing on the CD, and I was
Yes.
just like, oh my god,
Yes.
I've listened to this so many times in my head, and it was just incredible. It was
Yeah.
just like that was the sort of first thing that imagine if we played with the symphony, and yeah, it happened. Even today I'm still sort of dumbfounded by it that we did it. And it's something that we want to do again, and maybe take it a bit bigger.
Yes.
Okay, let's combine them. Let's do the symphony thing, and let's play in the round with the
Oh,
symphony thing. Oh, okay, let's, you know
yeah.
what I mean. So there's so
Yeah.
many endless possibilities, and they're all based off what Metallica does, and
Yeah.
but that's okay because a lot of Metallica doesn't bring that to Australia, so it's good
That's right.
that we can be the sort of patriots to fly that flag of, oh, okay, well, here you go, Australia. This is your opportunity to watch it, and
Y-
us do it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
What were the challenges to play with the symphony? I mean, watching the documentary with the Metallica symphony, and they were saying that one of the things was the tempo, where the band
yep,
had the live feel. The
yep,
orchestra was playing to like the recorded version of the song. So it took
yep,
them a little while to gel a little bit. How was it for your band?
yeah. No, no, we were so on it, man. Like everything, like we had to know those songs in and out, back to front, and because of the way that these musicians, orchestra people speak, they're like,
Mm.
section B, we're going to start on the A flat and 2 3. Okay, and then you got to figure out what part of the song is that. Do you know what I mean? And then we're like, okay, that's the chorus. That's the second chorus. We're going to start on the second chorus. So we had to be all over that stuff. Where what if we had to interpret what they were saying and be ready for it because, yeah, they're not going to wait for you to figure out and sit there and go, what part are we up to? So, and but they came in, and they were really, everyone was really cool. George Ellis, who was the conductor, and he was very helpful, because these guys can just read music and interpret things at the drop of a hat. Do you know what I mean? Like that,
Right.
the notation is down, and they just play it. And well, for me anyway, I'm sitting there with my tablet, just you know, 2 3. So, but because it's really playing with proper musicians,
Yeah.
but thing that helped me anyway, is knowing those songs where I could interpret what they were talking about when they were saying, "Oh, we're going to go section B, start on the A," for example,
Mm.
whatever song it was, and I knew where that was.
Right.
So that was some of the challenges for
Mm.
tempo wise. It was all based off our drummer, so he'd
Right.
count it in, and even in gaps where something would come back in, there'd be a count from Brad, on the count,
Right.
um, on the drum. So that's how it was all based off, and that's how the George Ellis, the conductor, based off, leading the symphony with that as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
And what was the feedback from the symphony after those
Oh,
shows?
well, what was funny is that we knew some of them prior because during
Right.
COVID we did our own sort of symphony. We did there was a quartet called the Vixen Strings,
Right.
that we found in Sydney, and we did our own little condensed show, with them, and that's sort of what led to the symphony thing, where a big touring company saw us do that and do it off our own bat. We live streamed it, and so we really got to know them well because some of those songs had never had symphony lines written for them, properly. So,
Right.
we just had a string quartet, and they had to sit down and go through it. And there'd be times I'd be on the phone to Dora, and she'd be like, "What do you want us to play here?" And I'm like, like trying to sort of like sing melodies to her, and she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I've got it, I got it," and she'd write it out, and just the level and in depth that she went to, like she had to come up with those string lines for the violins and the cellos and that, and yeah, she did an amazing job, and she put a lot of work into it, and probably a little bit more than we did because she didn't know those songs,
Right.
So, um, so we knew them prior. We knew about four or five of them prior going in, and then it was sort of like the next sort of step where when we walked on stage and saw them, and we sort of looked at each other and were like made eye connection, and you sort of like thank you to them because this what you did for us, playing our little quartet show, led us here. So
Yeah. Right.
it was just nothing was said, but I remember looking at Dora and sort of like nodding, like this is we you helped us get here,
Yeah.
So,
That's
and
amazing.
yeah, it was so cool, man. Just
Yeah.
all these things have been so cool,
Yeah.
and the people that we now know from these gigs that we've done, like we see the violinists on TV all the time. Like one of
Yeah.
them's playing
Right.
with Robbie Williams at the moment.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's
Incredible.
how amazing musicians they are. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that was just amazing.
And who picked the set? Did you pick the set around the Metallica symphony, or was it you guys picking songs that you thought fitted the? Because there was some certain songs that I think that they left off both
Yep.
uh, uh, symphonies. Fade to Black, a couple of ballads
Well,
off the.
we did that
Oh,
one.
right.
We did that. We did
Yeah.
Fade to Black. We did Unforgiven. A
Ah,
lot of it was
yes.
based off what they did in the first S&M and then the second S&M as well.
Right.
So wanted to combine it with some songs that they'd never done. So which were Unforgiven, Fade to Black, and I
Well,
think that
the
might have been it. But
Sanitarium. I don't think they did
nah,
Sanitarium there
yes,
though.
sorry, we did. Yes, we did Sanitarium. We did Whiskey
Hmm.
in the Jar,
Oh, nice.
which was
Yeah,
which
right.
they played that fiddle line,
Oh, yes. Yeah, like the original.
and yeah, and that was
Wow.
so cool. It was amazing. So to play some of those songs that Metallica had never done before with the symphony was really cool. And
Yeah.
especially, I don't know why they never did Fade to Black, man.
Yeah,
What the?
definitely.
Why
Definitely.
not? But yeah, and then one of the other ones that we did from S&M2 was Unforgiven 3. So just the orchestra and myself.
Wow.
Um, so when
Yeah.
so when that was on the set list, I'm like, we want to do this full band, or we want to do this just like they do on. And then they're like, no, no, as they do S&M2, and I'm like, wow, okay. So that was really put myself in the deep end, and yeah, we did it, and yeah, it was big. Once again, a big lesson for because there's no drums in it, and keeping timing with the symphony is hard. So I really had to listen to certain instruments to be able to keep my time. Sorry, and time and pitch. So um, yeah, yeah, it was really
Incredible.
cool.
I was sitting down just scrolling through around the time that the new album come out, 72 Seasons,
Yeah,
and they released their first single, Lux Eterna, and watching an interview with Lars on the Howard Stern show, and he said, "We've released this single. We haven't played it live yet, but for example, Damage Inc. I'm paraphrasing, but Damage Inc. in Australia are already playing Lux Eterna live. We haven't even played it live yet. What a
yeah.
shout out! How did that make you
Oh,
feel?"
dude. So I was at work when that came about, and I just walked out of the office, and the other guy that works in there with me, I'd walked back in after about 20 minutes, and he goes, "Dude, I think something's wrong. Your phone has not stopped buzzing." And I'm like, "Oh," and I ran over to it, and I'm like, "What?" And then I could see just like these Instagram notifications and Facebook notifications and everything. I'm like, "What's going on?" And then I opened it up, and then I listened to the interview, and I went, "Why is this?" Actually spoke about us, and that's us. And then the other guy was like, "Oh, so everything's all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everything's all right." It just didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, everything's completely fine." I said, "Lars from Metallica just spoke about us," and he's like, "Cool." back to work. You know, like, didn't understand the sort of what that meant
Wow.
to us. Like that's just
Yeah.
like just another thing where we're like, oh my god, we actually did that with the intention of hopefully getting noticed. Like
Yeah.
it was after they released it on a Tuesday, we had a gig on a Friday night, and we're like, hey, let's play this song. We did. So 3 days later, we played it live.
Wow.
So and then recorded it and put it up, and yeah, I think it was a couple of maybe a couple of weeks, a couple of months later, they were on the Howard Stern show, and then they brought it up, and yeah, it's just it's sort of oh god, man, we just did not expect it to come up, and you know our plans sort of work where they did notice us, and yeah, it's sort of we're living off it still, you know.
Yeah. But again, that shows your dedication and passion to something. And Lars was the same. He was following a Motorhead all around on
Yeah,
tour and doing the same
on
thing and
tours, yeah,
just touring his favorite bands until he
yeah,
formed his own band. So he can see what
yeah,
you're doing. Don't worry about that.
yeah.
They might you
Yeah.
might not get recognition all the time, but they're watching. Don't worry. They're
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But just to have them just actually say your name and from Australia, and you're just like, oh,
and
they,
Howard Stern as well is like one of the biggest
of all
radio,
shows.
probably is the biggest radio station in the
Yep.
US. I loved how you did the ANZAC post.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Yes, the last post. Yep.
tell us a little bit about how that come about.
So that I was just talking with Danny, our guitarist, and we are like, there's something that it has to be sort of Australian that we can do like they do with the national anthem. We, you know, we can just it's two guitars and play the melody and the harmonies of whatever it is, and then we sort of sat for a while and we actually fiddled on the national anthem a little bit,
Oh
but
yeah.
because it's a little bit divisive and some people sing it and some people don't, and you know they've got their own reasons for that. We wanted something that people really stand and understand, and um, really acknowledge and think is a nice piece of work. So we looked at the last post, which is obviously done on the bugle as just a single instrument. So we added some sort of thickness to it. You know, added some harmonies and like a backing guitar and one guitar playing that single line and the other guitar sort of working through it.
Right.
So yeah, that was Danny put a lot of work into that, and yeah, and we put it together, and it came out really well. It was funny because we wanted to film it somewhere in this, you know, Anzac-y.
Yes.
So we reached out to the Anzac Memorial in Sydney, and we had to ring them because they didn't understand what it was to begin with. This heavy sort of metal band, and they saw Metallica, and they're like, um, we didn't hear from them, and then so then I rang them up, and they're like, yeah, we got it, but we haven't listened to it because we were a bit worried, to be honest. I went, okay, that's fair enough, you know. So then she said, let me actually listen to it, and I'll see what you guys want to do. And then so she listened to us, and she must have listened to it, and she rang me straight back within. It was about 3 minutes. She said that was amazing. She said thank you for doing that, and unfortunately we can't give you access to the memorial because it needs to be quiet. You know, you can't have guitars blaring.
Yeah.
So she said, you know, I can get you access to the Anzac Bridge in Sydney, and yeah, she did that, and we were able to film it there, and yeah, it's just another thing that's a little bit different, and but it's based off what Metallica do, but with an Australian twist. So that's
Yeah.
a lot of things we try and do are based off that. You
Mm,
know, yes, it's sort of what Metallica did, but we put an Australian twist and an Australian flavour on it and make it our own. You know, so yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, another yeah, it was cool.
Now I want to go back into your career and your life. So you were born in Sydney?
Yeah, born in Sydney, mate. Yep.
Yep. What was it like growing up in Sydney? Because I was born in Newcastle, so I have a
Yep.
different, everyone has a different opinion about Sydney. Tell
Yep.
us.
Well, I'm not from the city. It's a little bit
Oh, okay.
so a little bit away from the city. So it's the lifestyle sort of in the Hawkesbury is pretty close to obviously Newcastle, but with the exception of a beach, you know. So
Right.
we, you know, we've got cows and stuff like that out here. It's a little bit more country, and everything's a little bit more spaced out. growing up. So yeah, and it was pretty like being Newcastle's being in Sydney and not too far away from Penrith. It was pretty footy based, so
Right.
for me growing up anyway. You know, following football and wanting to be a footballer, and all my friends playing football and stuff like that. So
Did you
yeah,
play? You play rugby league or rugby union or?
yeah. Played rugby league growing up, and then yeah, and still I think I stopped playing in about 2018 or so. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, always yeah.
Tell me this then. I see that you took your daughter. You're wearing a South Sydney jersey, but
Yep.
then I see you training with a Parramatta singlet. Who
Oh,
who do
okay.
you follow?
So I'm a South Sydney fan, and my
Oh,
family is South Sydney. It's just I've just like I've played for a few teams. I know a few people that have gear, like have played for Parramatta, and we swap gear, and
oh
or
right.
I've bought gear, and yeah, and a lot of the times it's the joke is everyone's like, "Why are you wearing Parramatta? You go for South Sydney." I'm like, "Oh, I was training in mud, so that's the one I can wear when I get dirty." It's not the South Sydney stuff, so. Yeah,
Fair
massive
enough.
South Sydney fan growing up. Is my all my family is, and
Yeah.
always will be. And yeah,
Not your year this year. Same with the mighty Knight,
it's
Newcastle Knights as well. So
yeah,
uh,
but we don't have a spoon to talk about it with us. So for this year.
we're sort of getting used to that spoon up in Newcastle. So it's the only way is up, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can only go up from there, and it's the banter between like different footy teams and mates is always great, and it's something I've always
Yeah.
loved. When because been a South Sydney fan growing up, they weren't in the '90s and that they weren't successful at all,
No. No.
and just copying it every time, like from Panthers fans, Bulldogs fans,
Yeah.
Broncos fans. It was just I've always been able to copy, so it
Yeah.
was good, around 2014 to be able to give it back a bit,
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yes. Yes.
but yeah, and in '99 when they got kicked out and for 2 years, I didn't think I was going to have a team to follow.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
so uh, well, for 2 years I didn't really know who to go for,
Mm.
and when they got back in, obviously that was more helpful, and I started following South properly again because they're on TV and stuff. So to be back where they've been, it's footy's about passion,
Yeah.
and like Newcastle, they embody that, the pride of being the pride of the league and so on. But everyone's passionate about their own team, and I understand that, and I love the banter that happens between friends and and so on. So it's fun.
Absolutely. And that just brings me back to even the state of origin as well. That period where Queensland would won 8 or 9 in a row.
Yep.
I'd still go up to Queensland, Suncorp Stadium, and wear my New South Wales jersey,
Yep.
and they were getting smashed 40-0, but you know, and I'd be getting ribbed all weekend, but it was just the fun, just having a good time with mates and going up there and
Exactly.
having a few
Yeah. There's
beers.
nothing but nothing
Yeah,
better. Nothing better.
yeah,
It's so good.
absolutely. Like growing up, were your mum and dad or were your family, were they into music? Did they play an instrument or?
My mum and dad didn't, but my grandmother, I think she had like sort of had a piano and stuff like that. Music wasn't really in our predominant thing in our family.
Okay.
Um, and so when I did pick up a guitar, it was I didn't know who Metallica was, and it was more that there was songs that I'd heard like Lenny Kravitz, "Are You Gonna Go My Way," and that
Yeah.
film clip of him with the flying V,
Oh yeah,
and
the
because I
dreads,
didn't have,
yeah.
yeah, and I'd wake up every Saturday morning for video hits and see what songs would come up, and then that song would always come on. I'd be like, man, that is so cool. That just that guitar and just the song and the riff and everything was real. I remember standing there with a tennis racket,
Right.
pretending to play, and then I think for Christmas that year, my mum and dad got me an acoustic guitar, and which I didn't know how to tune for years, and I didn't know you had to used to be able to use a thing called a guitar pick. So I like wore my thumb down to like a nub, just slamming it, trying to play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the those sort of songs sort of really inspired me, and then I was even now, I'm still a big, massive Meatloaf fan, and I love Meatloaf.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Um, and that was sort of one of the really first bands or singers that I really focused on.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until sort of a little bit later on that my friends showed me Metallica,
Right,
and they're
right.
like, "Listen to this,"
Yeah. But
and then I went,
were you hearing Metallica on the radio at that stage, like learning guitar?
"Yeah." I heard Metallica on the radio on that, but I always thought it was like around '98. So I remember hearing Fuel and being like,
Okay.
"Okay, that song's cool," but Matt, I don't think the rest is like I hadn't really listened to it. Like I thought it was like something too heavy. Like
Yeah.
I'd never listened to it and never bothered to. And so I knew who Metallica were, and I was like, oh no, that's too heavy for me. I never listened to any of that sort of screamo stuff. But then my mates who would always play it, they're like, no, dude, you need to listen to it. You don't get it.
Yeah.
And and they showed me what it was, and I got it very quickly.
Yeah. What was the first song that your friend showed you? Can you remember?
Uh, the first song, so they went to show me, and they put the Black Album on. They went to show me Enter Sandman, but the CD skipped, so I went to Sad But True.
Right.
So the first song I heard probably was Sad But True, and got about halfway through, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I was like, this is heavy and stuff, you know. And then they went, oh no, this is the wrong song. And then they showed me Enter Sandman, like they saw that it had skipped on the CD, and then they showed me in the Sandman, and then I was just like, "Is that the same band?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then I'm like, "Oh wow!" And then I started hearing, they started showing me other songs that Metallica had, and then I was like, "Oh, yeah, I know this song. I've heard that melody, which is the bass line from For Whom the Bell Tolls." Dun it, dun it, like, and
Yeah.
I know that, and they're like, "I'm like, is that the same band?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Wow." Oh my god, these guys are crazy. And then yeah, and just sort of went backwards and forwards through there, and then they're like, oh no, they got another album here, and this is like this, and I'm like, oh wow, oh my god, these guys, and it was just the variety they had that I loved, you know. I think it wasn't just the same song sounded the same. There was different textures and different layers. You know, you can go from Mama Said to Disposable Heroes, and the
Yeah.
juxtaposition there is just so crazy that you're like, it sounds like a different band almost, you know,
Yeah.
just from listening to a different album of
Yeah.
a band, which is so cool,
That
and
was
just
the
shows
one.
how talented they are.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the same. I'd heard Sandman and Sabotrue and Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters. And then my friend said the same thing. No, 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 no. You need to hear this one. And it was the one single. And I
Yeah,
was like,
right, right.
whoa, like never heard any double kick, three guitar solos. I've never heard a
Yep,
7 minute song ever. I was
yep.
listening to all the commercial radio stuff, so I can understand your sort of wowness. So did that spur you on to want to play Metallica songs on guitar?
Had two guitar lessons, and I learned Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then I was just like, I want to play other stuff, you know. So I started learning a riff as well, and then I went back in for the second lesson of guitar, and then he's like, "How did you do with your homework? Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," you know. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I learnt that." And I played it, and then he went, "Cool," and I went, "But I also learnt this." And I can't remember what riff it was. It was a very simple riff. I can't remember what it was. And then he said, "No, no, 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 stop! You're going too fast. Come back, come back." And then he started playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star again, and I was like, "But I'm past that. Like, I want to keep going, you know. Like, I want to play like these screaming solos and riffs, not ding 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 ding." But
Yeah.
and then I sort of figured, oh, maybe it's not for me. So I had that lesson, and then told my parents I didn't want to do it anymore. Then going forward to learning guitar, a lot of it was by ear and via tab books
Mm,
and watching videos, you know, on the old VHS, you know, and just rewinding them back and forward of
right.
Cunning Stunts to learn, you know, watching Cunning Stunts to learn the
Oh
songs
yeah.
and stuff, you know. So and wearing that tape out, and then and seeing where they played, you know, on the guitar,
Yeah.
and then getting the tab books and stuff like that, and then yeah, and it sort of went from there, and learning how to tune a guitar and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, um, and then finding my friends and always being that guy that wants to play Metallica songs when we had something to do. And I'm like, let's do this song. And they're like, no, we need to do something different. We can't always play
We
Metallica.
got to play Chisel. We got
So,
to play the
yeah,
Australian
yeah,
classics, you know.
exactly. So, so yeah, even in school it was the same. And they're always like, oh, no, we've got to play something different, man. You got to learn like Eric Clapton or something. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
broaden your spectrum.
Brought on the shirt. That's right. How long did it take you to start playing guitar or like getting confidence? Because I get that a question a lot here in Shanghai, and I normally say probably 3 or 4 months before I was like, oh, that's how you do it. That's how you play it. That's how you hold it. And all of a sudden, it just started to click. So, what about you? How did you?
Well, it's still clicking for me now. I'm still learning. Like because I didn't know how to hold it, and I wasn't like when I was first originally playing guitar. It was an out of tune, just mess. I wasn't playing proper shapes. I wasn't playing proper chords. I was
Yeah.
just trying to make the sounds, and so it was just a big long evolution when I finally learned it, and it did take a while, but it probably took me a good 5 years, by myself to figure it out. And that's when I
Right.
went, okay, I can actually, if someone says to me, we're going to learn this song, I know that could learn it and
Yeah.
play it.
Right.
And might take me a bit of time, but I'd get there, in the end. So,
And did you get to see Metallica on that Reload tour, or was it the Saint
no,
Anger one that you saw?
no, Saint Anger.
Saint
Saint Anger was the
Anger,
first time. And
right.
yeah, yeah.
So, what was that
And
whole
then that's when it,
experience of lining up, getting to see Metallica for the first time?
oh, that was crazy. I remember having my heart in my throat and I cried. I
Yeah,
cried when I first saw
yeah.
him. It was just hearing Ecstasy of Gold come out, and the first show that I saw them on was in Sydney, and they opened with Blackened,
Yeah.
um, and I was with my mates and some of them were in the pit. I was in the Met Club part um, with a couple of mates, and just to know that my mates that had shown me Metallica, and this was the first time I saw them. I was near them. We all drove in together, and
Yeah.
it was just so cool that they showed me that, and I was able to experience that with them. Yeah, I'll never forget it. It was just
W-
so cool.
Was that the big day out, or was that their own show at
That
the
was it. And that was the own one at their yeah, the old
entertainment center? Right,
yeah,
right. That was a cool show.
yeah,
I remember
it
that one.
was yeah,
That was great.
yeah.
When did you sort of work out or have hey, let's try and do a tribute show?
So funnily enough, I was in another a little bit earlier than that. I was in with another
Oh,
couple
you're in a
of guys
band?
trying to start it. Yeah, trying to
Oh,
start a Metallica tribute band, and there'd be we never did any shows, but it would just be more let's get together and jam, and then we'd have a bass player, and I think there's probably only about 2 or 3 times that we actually had a full band.
right.
Um, and then yeah, so we were trying to get there, but we never got to that point, of having a full band and being able to rehearse enough to be able to do a show. So that was about 2000 and all of 2003, and then I remember being I picked up a drum media magazine, and it was one that featured Metallica because they were coming to Australia.
Right.
And then I remember looking in it because they always had the ads at the back of musicians wanted, and
Oh, yeah.
where a band needs this. Pretty much like the old recycler that Metallica used, like that. James and Lars found each other. The old magazine in the back, and you went through it however often it came out, trying to find the band that suited you or whatever.
Yes.
And it was a Metallica tribute band looking for a bass player, and I went, I'm just going to ring them and see if they've got a Hetfield. So I rang him, and then they were like, I started talking to a guy, and I'm like, have you got a singer? And they're like, yeah, we've got a singer. And I'm like, he's like, but I can't really sing. He's like, can you do it? And I'm like, yeah, I reckon I can do it. And he goes, well, is
Yeah.
any good?
Yeah. I can do
Yeah,
it.
pretty
Yeah.
much, pretty much. Like I'm nowhere near of a player or singer that I was back then that I feel that I am now. And so I kind of felt that I if I went in there confident, showed them what I could do,
Yeah.
they'd understand it and be like, okay, all right. So I remember going in, and they were looking for a bass player, and what actually happened, the rhythm guitarist just moved to bass, and then we had a band, and then yeah, it just evolved from there. That was sort of when was that? That was in January of 2004.